getting really good, 0 to 60 starts is easy, again, with the all-wheel drive setting. Acura doesn't quote a time, but my seat of the pants would say probably,
Welcome to Drive Culture. I'm Jonathan Rivers, and today we have the 2024 Acura RDX A-Spec. And I'm going to tell you why this is an awesome premium mid-size CUV. So we'll go over the exterior, the interior, cover the powertrain, and of course, take it for a drive. So if this is content you're after, or you're new to the channel, please be sure to click that bell to subscribe to come back for more. And with that, let's get after it. So the RDX has been around since 2019, right? That was when the first model year of this generation came out. And now we're here for the 2024. And there's been a couple like mid-cycle refreshes in between that really help to kind of keep it modern and fresh. Back in the 22 model year, they changed some of the front fascia design. So really, we're just gonna cover all the changes and bring you up to speed. And then you guys can let us know down in the comments below what future changes you'd like to see on RDX. Obviously, if you guys have been keeping up with Acura news, you saw that MDX just got a big announcement as a mid-cycle refresh. So again, let us know if there's some of those features and technologies you'd like to see spread its way, not only through RDX, but the rest of the Acura lineup. So up front, with this being the A-Spec trim, it's kind of in the middle of the trim lineup, right? So we'll throw the pricing down below, but basically RDX only comes with all-wheel drive now. There's no more front-wheel drive variations. It only comes with super handling all-wheel drive. We'll talk about that in the powertrain section. But essentially, you basically walk from like $44,000 all the way up to about $54,000 with this A-Spec trim coming in right in at $50,000 MSRP. And even with the car that we have here painted in lunar silver metallic, there's not even a paint color upcharge. Some of the other colors, if you go for that, Acura will charge you an extra $600 to get those. So literally this car, this spec you see here is an even 50 grand. So let us know down in the comments below, is the pricing right? Does it have the features and design you're looking for? But I think the A-Spec has always looked pretty good. And again, after that 22 refresh where they changed the front fascia here, I think it really made RDX look modern and sophisticated. So it has Acura's diamond pentagon grille. That's been around for several years now. Again, all A-Specs get this kind of, piano black treatment around the grille. Again, some of their newer models are going for that frameless look. So if you've seen our TLX videos, and if you haven't, be sure to watch those. That shows this kind of new direction for Acura for their diamond pentagon grille. But even then, I still think this looks really good. The diamonds here on A-Spec are kind of this matte finish, kind of a dark gray. So that looks really good. And then you even get like dark accents on the headlights. So it does have the chicane daytime running lights with those signature jewel eye headlights. But again, I think this looks really good. There's even LED fog lights down below. So let's go ahead and take a look from the side. Now, again, this hasn't changed. RDX A-Spec still come with these 20-inch rims, and I think they look really good. They're in a sharp gray finish. If you get the entry technology package, those are only 19. But every other trim and above comes with 20-inch wheels. And there's even a new A-Spec Advance trim that's fully loaded that comes with the newer design than these, because this has been the A-Spec wheel since the launch of RDX. But I still think it looks pretty good. Let us know down in the comments what you guys think. You get the signature A-Spec badging along the side, the gloss black window molding, the gloss black accent for this kind of blade that cuts through the doors. Again, if you get the non-A-Spec packages, that comes in like a chrome piece. So I really like the black, and it sets off nice with the silver paint here. You do get LED turn lights. They're not power folding on this trim, but if you go for the A-Spec Advance, you can get power folding side mirrors. So that's a nice premium touch point, but you're gonna have to pay for it if that's what you want. You also get the smart entry on the front and rear, so that's a nice touch point as well. But as we make our way to the rear, again, nothing's really changed in the last couple model years. Again, I still think RDX has a pretty good design. Out back, it's got some really good LED tail lights. The Acura badge in black, the A-Spec badging, and again, with this coming only now as SH all-wheel drive, you have that under the RDX badge as well. There's a rear view camera. Again, you have to step up to either Advance or A-Spec Advance to get the full 360 surround view camera, but for me, the rear view camera is enough. Again, it's not a very big car, so it's easy to park. You can always get in the lines, you know where to go. But again, down low, it's pretty aggressive. There's these two huge 4-inch circular exhaust finishers. That's kind of a signature on the A-Spec now. And you got kind of a gloss black rear diffuser down below. You'll also notice that there's parking sensors up in the front and rear of the vehicle. So again, RDX looks pretty good. So with that, let's go ahead and hop inside and talk about the interior. All right, guys, here we are inside the interior of the RDX A-Spec. There haven't, been any changes for this particular model year. Like I said, the 22 model year was when they made a, kind of minor refresh, added some things here, but let's just kind of go over what you're getting across the board. So RDX, has a really nice steering wheel and A-Spec. It's got this kind of, dimpled, kind of perforated finish here on the sides. It's a flat bottom steering wheel, so it's nice and sporty. It says A-Spec down below, and it does have paddle shifters, so that's a nice touch point as well. And again, outside of that, there's some really good touch points. RDX has always had kind of a premium interior, so lots of like leather and soft touch points throughout. There's some great red contrast stitching. You get that on the steering wheel, here on the center console that carries down. On the dash here, it even carries over, and then even on the door lining. And one of the change points that happened back at the 2022 model year was they added this extra kind of like suede insert here. So that looks really, really nice. Again, there's red stitching even along the door lining here. So everywhere inside, there's really, really good touch points. You also get some really good features. Now, RDX still has Acura's True Touchpad interface, so you have to use this little trackpad here to control the 10.2-inch center screen, but there are some good features. Of course, it has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It also has Amazon Alexa, if that's still a thing for you. But again, there's some good technology there. There's a wireless charging pad down below in this kind of floating console area. So this is really nice, this kind of pass through, so you can put stuff down there. There's this really cool kind of like sliding center console area here. If you pull it all the way back, you got two cup holders and a little cubby to, kind of put your smartphone there. And there is a USB-A port for data and charging. So that's a nice little touch point. Back here, you got a center console, a little bit of cubby space there as well. But let's go ahead and talk about some of the extra features and premium touch points. So you don't get a full digital instrument cluster. They didn't add that to the RDX, but it still has those nice silver analog gauges, and you get this 7-inch screen in the middle that's colored and shows you all your information. So again, if you step up to the A-Spec Advance, you get even more features like a color head-up display and things like that. So let us know down in the comments below, should we review that trim on this channel? We're happy to bring it to you. But even on this A-Spec, you do get 12-way power seats. They're really comfortable. You have this kind of ultra suede insert here in the middle. They are heated and ventilated with 3-way settings and an auto setting. So I really like the auto setting. That's great because, it's tied to the overall climate control of the vehicle. So, if it's really hot, it'll automatically turn on the ventilated seats for you. So that's a nice touch point as well. They're also, like I said, on the exterior, there's parking sensors that can be switched off. There's a whole little switch bank of controls over here for your active safety, for the parking sensors. Even your brake hold and the electronic parking brake are over here on the left of the vehicle. But yeah, again, RDX also has this mega wide, opening panoramic moonroof. And what I like is that when it's closed with this power shade is that it's dark, like no light comes through. Some manufacturers have it where like it's kind of a see-through finish, but here it completely shades the sun when you don't want it. And with a click of a switch, it'll open all the way, and it also opens the glass roof, which is a really nice feature as well. And then again, guys, you know me, I like music. So last but not least is the 16-speaker ELS Studio 3D sound system. So it actually debuted on the RDX, back when the car launched. Obviously, it's spread throughout the Acura lineup. And if you've read the news, now you've heard that Acura's even going to a newer audio partner with the Bang & Olufsen partnership. But the ELS system still sounds really good. It's really premium. You got, speakers in the headliner above you. And it sounds really, really good. So I think that's it for the front row. Let's go ahead and hop in the back to talk about the space back there. All right, here we are in the second row, and I'm sitting behind myself. This is the actual driving position that I would be in. And you guys can see, again, I'm about 5'10", 5'11". I've got plenty of legroom here. I've got, actually really good headroom as well, and that's even with this power sunshade closed for the panoramic moonroof. And again, there's some really good materials. Everything that you kind of get up front carries over to the back. They didn't cheap out. You still get the aluminum speaker grills. You get the, ultra suede inserts here, the contrast stitching, and that it carries on to the seat surfaces as well. So you don't really lose out being in the back of the RDX. It's a really premium place to be. These got these nice seat backs and seat pockets on both sides. You don't get to adjust the climate control back here, but you at least have vents. So that's a nice thing. And then on this trim down below the vents, you actually get two USB-C charging ports. So you do get some connectivity back here. You guys can also see I have a booster seat back here. So that's a pretty good position for the passenger seat, so you can see how much space is there. So again, no problem taking your friends, family in this car. Again, it's a 5-passenger mid-size CUV. If you fold the center armrest down, you got some cup holders here. Again, this is a pretty good place to be, lots of space. So with that, let's go ahead and check out the cargo area. All right, guys, let's talk about the cargo space for the RDX. Now, on this trim, you either have to use the key fob or you have to pull back here to open up the power tailgate. It doesn't have the hands-free access, where you go ahead and kick underneath. You have to get either the Advance or the A-Spec Advance trim to get that feature, but let us know down in the comments, would you even use that? Do you even try to kick under the tailgate? But let's go ahead and open it up. So just one quick pull. Power tailgate opens up. And you can see there's a lot of space back here. There's roughly 29.5 cubic feet of space, so just under 30, with the seats folded up. Of course, if you fold those flat, and they fold virtually flat, you get a lot of space back here. It's nice. There's these pull handles here to just pull, and then the seats basically drop forward. Back here, you also see the big subwoofer for the ELS Studio 3D audio system. But one of the nice things, and this has always been true about this generation of RDX, is that there's a lot of underfloor storage, which isn't counted in that cubic feet. So the first one is you pull this back, and then you actually have a pretty deep space back here. It's great. I mean, you can fit backpacks, laptops, all kinds of things, and then close that and keep it out of people's reach. So that's a nice first part of the underfloor storage. The second one is actually if you lift it up again. So on one side, you're gonna find a compartment that has the tire repair kit, but you're also gonna find another huge cubby down there, which, it can fit like a basketball or a soccer ball. It's a pretty good size. So there's a lot of underfloor storage in RDX. And again, it's nice that you can actually just fold and keep all this closed. There's also an available kind of tonneau cover. It actually doesn't come with one. You have to buy that as an accessory, but even still, there's a lot of good space back here. So up next, let's go ahead and talk about the powertrain. All right, here we are with the powertrain of the RDX, and it's unchanged, hasn't changed since the car's launch. But let's go ahead and go over the specs. So it's Acura's 2-liter VTEC turbocharged engine, makes 272 horsepower and 280 foot-pounds of torque at just 1,800 RPM. So again, the small downsizing turbos got lots of power down low. So this car is really a lot of fun to drive, and we'll talk about that here in a second. It's made it exclusively to Acura's 10-speed transmission. And like I said, they dropped the front-wheel drive trim, so now it only comes with super handling all-wheel drive. So that's Acura's 4th-gen torque vectoring all-wheel drive system. We'll get into some of the details once we actually go for the drive, but it's a really good system. Again, it can distribute power to the rear and then to each outboard wheel to give you maximum traction and maximum driving dynamics. So again, this car's a lot of fun to drive, but there's no better way than to get behind the wheels. So let's go ahead and hop inside.
All right, here we are inside the RDX A-Spec, and we're gonna go ahead and take this thing for a drive. So foot on the brake, engine start button. So you probably heard some sound effects there. That's pretty cool. Gives you some kind of, Acura graphics as it starts up. It's a nice little touch for RDX. Go ahead and turn off my ventilated seats. They can actually get kind of loud. Like I said, there's a 3-stage setting for the ventilated seats. And yeah, again, they're pretty powerful, right? But I'm gonna have them off for the drive. So let's go ahead and take off here. So like always, we're gonna talk about some of the drive modes and things like that. So before we even take off, let's just dive right into it. So you do have a snow mode, which is really cool. It gives you this kind of 3D animation of an RDX driving in the snow. You got comfort, normal, and then sport. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off in comfort, and then we will change as we start the drive here. So there are no adaptive suspension on this particular trim. You have to step up to the advanced trim or the A-Spec Advance to get the adaptive dampers, which change with the drive mode. So you're obviously gonna feel even a bigger difference in the drive modes on those trims. But despite that, you know, this car, really where those changes happen is, like always, you know, you're gonna have kind of a lighter steering feel, which again, I'm going through a parking lot right now, I'm in comfort, and it's not overly light steering. It's actually a pretty good weight and comfort, but it's really good for maneuvering in tight places or parking lots. You'll also notice, like, you know, the active sound control for the engine sounds are pretty much nothing on the comfort mode. The throttle response is kind of dialed back. So again, typical comfort mode. So continue to drive in here. And even how it shifts, right? It, you know, always tries to shift to the next gear as quickly as possible. Again, this is the 10-speed transmission, so there's a lot of gears to go through, but really, you know, you're not using those higher gears unless you're cruising on the freeway, right? Again, this car is a lot of fun to drive. Like I said, it's definitely one of the more sportier vehicles in this segment. Again, some of the other competitors kind of tend to be more luxury focused and just, you know, kind of oodle you and quilted stitching and things like that. But RDX is definitely kind of just a very sporty mid-size SUV, and that like I said, we talked about that in the exterior and interior styling. It just gives this kind of sporty, aggressive look and feel to it. And again, that carries inside and even how you drive. So driving along in comfort, we can talk about fuel economy on this particular A-Spec trim, again, because it only comes with super handling all-wheel drive. The fuel economy, will show the numbers down below, but it's 21 for the city, 26 for the highway, and 23 combined. So again, kind of average for this segment. Again, you know, again, getting this kind of average for this segment. So, you know, getting, you know, kind of mid to high 20s is probably possible on the freeway. I think driving in comfort mode and not getting into it too much will help with that. So let me go ahead and switch into normal. So this is the default driving mode. And again, as soon as you change it, you'll notice that the throttle response changes, the steering wheel gets a little bit heavier. And one of the other things that changes, it's not immediately noticeable, but it's the super handling all-wheel drive setting. So everything just consistently builds up and gets a little bit more sporty the higher you go up in the range. So even in normal, as I get into it though, you know, it's really good acceleration. I'm 60 miles an hour. And again, like I said, some of that has to do with the engine, right? That 2-liter VTEC turbo engine, 280 pounds of torque at a very, very low RPM. So that makes this car really, really fun to drive around town. Getting really good, you know, 0 to 60 starts is easy, again, with the all-wheel drive setting. Acura doesn't quote a time, but my seat of the pants would say probably, you know, 6.8, you know, definitely maybe less than 7 seconds. It's pretty quick, maybe 6.5 on a good day. So it's, you know, not fast, but it's definitely good, and it's got a lot of pep. And I think once you're actually moving though, it's probably even faster, because like I said, the torque is in the, you know, the mid-range of the power band, and it's pretty powerful. So I'll go ahead and switch into sport. And what that does is, again, you get the cool graphics in the center display. You also get these little like sport gauges that pop up in the center digital display, which is a nice touch. They can actually be turned on and off. But basically, as soon as I turn that to sport, I see that the RPMs pretty much sit always above 2,000 RPM. They don't come back down below 2,000 RPM like they did in the other settings. And then, like a lot of other Acuras, there's kind of a second step to that, because you have the drive mode button here to actually push the vehicle into drive. So if you hit that twice, all of a sudden it changes it into sport kind of transmission setting. And it took a second. It kind of figures out, hey, are you going to drive aggressive or not? And then it drops back down. But what this does, and you've heard this in some of our other videos, is this allows you to kind of have almost full control using the paddle shifters. So if you just leave it in S, it's going to be in a very aggressive setting. If you start pulling on the paddle shifters, it'll say like S, M, and then the number of the gear that you're in. And it gives you most control. It is protective of itself, the transmission. So in some cases, it will automatically upshift for you. So let us know down in the comments below, is that a deal breaker for you? For me, I actually don't mind it too much, and the fact that I know it's not damaging the transmission is kind of reassuring in itself, because you know sometimes you're ripping through the gears and you kind of forget to pull the paddles and shift. So the fact that it'll automatically do that in most kind of extreme cases is still comforting. So I'm gonna go, I'm in SM1 and a quick launch here. So 55. So I mean, it's not slow, guys. It's a pretty quick SUV, all things considered. Also, what I noticed, and you probably heard me if you've seen our TLX video, because TLX also has that, you know, super handling, torque vectoring, all-wheel drive. It's really impressive, and it's a lot of fun to drive because it works. It's not brake biased. It's not, you know, hitting the brakes to kind of rotate the car. It's actually distributing power through the different wheels. And even in this mid-size SUV, you can totally tell what the super handling all-wheel drive is doing. Again, it can send up to 70% of the power to the rear of the vehicle at any given time, and then it can take 100% of that power and put that to either the left or right outboard wheel. So it's a lot of fun to drive, and you can also get these kind of like moments of oversteer where the back kicks out a little bit. I think you get it more on the TLX than the RDX. The effect is greater there, but even on this midsize SUV, when you're like powering through the turns, you can get the vehicle to rotate a little bit, and it's just a lot of fun. Again, it's never unnerving or is it scary to be like that, but it's a lot of fun, and it just adds to the drama and excitement, which again, like I said, lends to kind of like the RDX and its kind of sporty character that it has. But even as I'm cruising along though, I'm in sport mode, and I really like this because you know, sometimes the sport mode is so aggressive that you wouldn't want to use it in daily use, but I feel like the sport mode here is just enough. It kind of like, it's learned your behavior, right? So as the more you get into it and drive aggressively, it'll, you know, basically try to keep up with you. But I, like I said, as I'm coming up to a stop here again, I'll give it one more thrust in SM1. So I'll start from a dead stop. And like I said, it's pretty good acceleration, all things considered. So I'm at a stop. Actually got a guy pulling up next to me. So now it's time to go. And you'll see there's 1, 2, 3, 4th gear there. And I'm at 60. So the thing rips. It's actually pretty quick, you know, and it's a lot of fun to drive. The one thing is that the RDX, when it launched, it didn't have an individual drive mode setting, and they haven't added one in the RDX. So let us know down in the comments below, is that something you'd like to see in the RDX, where you can kind of essentially piecemeal and customize to the likings of, you know, whatever settings you like. I mean, we talked about that in the Integra video and some of the other Acura videos that have the individual settings. But again, it doesn't kill me that it doesn't have it, but yeah, I maybe would have liked to see that, you know, added into the RDX lineup. So again, guys, this is a great SUV. I'm gonna go ahead and open up the panoramic moonroof. Like I talked about in the interior, it's great. You just push the button once, and it's huge. It opens up well past the second row. So anyone that's even sitting in the second row lets the sun in, lets the light in, and the fact that you can even open the entire glass, and it has like kind of like this little windbreaker that pops up, it almost gives this kind of like open car sensation. So again, this car all around I think is a hit. With that, we'll go ahead and wrap up the video.
All right, guys, what did you think of the 2024 Acura RDX A-Spec? Is it an awesome premium mid-size CUV? Are you gonna look at something from, you know, Genesis, Mercedes, BMW, Volvo, Cadillac? I mean, there's no shortage of competitors in this segment, but again, the RDX is unique in that it's a very sporty mid-size CUV. Some are going for more of the luxury and the comfort in this segment, but this is definitely, you know, if you're a driver, right, and you like to have fun, this should definitely be on your shopping list. So let us know down in the comments below what you're looking at in this segment. Also, let us know if you want to see other trims of the RDX on this channel. We're happy to bring it to you. Thanks for watching. Everyone that's joined us so far, thank you so much for following along with Drive Culture. If you're new to the channel, please be sure to click that bell to subscribe to come back for more. And with that, we'll see you at the next episode.